Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today we have a review on the US BF-109 F4. As per usual, these captured premiums, because there's a good little story behind this one. Um, if you have not flown the respective aircraft in their own tech tree, please do fly their own aircraft in their tech tree before you commit money to these sorts of premiums, because then you'll save yourself a lot of effort and a lot of pain and suffering, to be brutally honest. So the BF-109 F4, as per usual, is available in the German tech tree, and it's actually one of my favorite planes, the 109 F4 is. However, she does have a couple of teething problems compared to the Akutan Zero, which obviously you've seen a review for. But all I'll say is I'd take this over the Zero. As much as I love flying the Zeros, they just don't have the speed, and if you're against an experienced pilot, it's not a lot you can do against them. At least with a 109 F4, you've got a good chance. So, the main differences between the US BF-109 F4 and the German BF-109 F4 is this aircraft does not come with the gun pods nor the bomb racks, and obviously has a different skin. This aircraft was actually given to the Americans by the Russians, as far as I've been able to find. They had a load of, well, they were given a load of Lend-Lease stuff by the Americans and obviously the British eventually, and subsequently the Russians decided, yeah, let's just give him a 109. I'm sure they're gonna enjoy this, and I'm pretty certain they sent some ammo across and decided to go ahead and send it back to the Americans for testing. Ironically, though, from what I've been able to find, the US actually had more G2s than they did have F4s, but to be fair, would you really want premium 109 G2s running around on US side flown by experienced pilots? I'm fairly certain that would be a slaughter with XB50s thrown in. So I can sort of understand why they went with the F4. So as mentioned, you do not gain access to the wing-mounted 15mm gun pods. Personally, I'm kind of glad because I don't like those. This is the only 109 other than I think it's the K4 that I sometimes fly without the gun pods. Um, This is the only 109 plus the K4 that I don't fly with pods on. Although the K4, it depends on my mood and depends on what BR I'm at, to be brutally honest. But I just don't like the 15mm gun pods, and not having them is kind of a blessing, is all I'll say. So, before we begin with the actual aircraft itself, let's go into what belts I use. Recently, I've been having trouble with the German 20mm 151 air target belt. And I've been trialing stealth, and I have to admit, I see why some people use it, because even on 1151, it feels great. And I forgot to learn my lesson in Mr. Quackers and change him to stealth on his 20 mils, so but that didn't stop me from getting a result that you're going to see in his review. Let's put it that way. But yeah. Otherwise, it's universal for the 792. I've seen people running tracers. I don't like them personally. If I wanted to play Star Wars, I would go and do that, not play it in War Thunder. And even then, most of the Star Wars games aren't even that great. I mean, there's a couple of good ones, but even so. So going over the armor protection, this aircraft is actually pretty well armored. It's just the wings are a bit fragile for the most part. Depends on what you're getting shot by. And I've never actually noticed this plate before. I reckon this has been added recently, and I only noticed it when I picked up this premium. This 6mm steel plate, in the later Gustav models, this tends to be around 20mm thick. This won't stop anything realistically, but obviously your fuel tank is right here. And I just happened to notice it, and I was like, that's not been there before. And sure enough, it's pretty recent from what I've been able to find. Otherwise, your backrest armor is 8mm, the headrest armor is 10mm, as well as the slight sunlight covering, and the frontal bulletproof glass is 60mm. However, I believe it's a 0.35 modifier, so it's going to be around about 20mm thick to something like that. So realistically, you're not going to be taking an awful lot of damage in this 109, and because it's an inline engine, you're not going to be taking much anyway. The liquid cooling system is located under the wings, the oil is all in the nose section, and of course we have the fabled Daimler-Benz DB601E 12-cylinder inline with just over 1300 horsepower on WEP. This gives this aircraft a very good rate of climb, a pretty okay turn rate to be brutally honest, and this also gives this plane very good high altitude performance. However, against a G2, it's going to be a rough fight. However, from my experience, I've been able to outturn G2s. So let's go over the armament of this aircraft. As previously mentioned, you do not gain access to the gun pods nor the bombs. But we do have the 7.92 MG-17 machine gun with 500 rounds. This is a pretty solid machine gun. I like it a lot. I've used it a lot through the German tech tree, and I'm very familiar with what it can and can't do. So this is familiar territory to me. Same with the MG-151, which there's been a lot of talk in the Discord server about this cannon. Let's put it that way. And this comes with 200 rounds. I'll explain why the 151 is hated in our Discord server, but let's put it that way. People don't like it. Because I'll explain later, but Jesus Christ, there was a big discussion in the Discord about this cannon. But then obviously your main source of fuel is right here. If this gets hit, chances are you're going to go up in flames. And if it does go out, you're going to be out of fuel. So try not to get hit in the central fuselage if you can, because either your pilot's taking a bullet or your fuel tank's taking a bullet. But otherwise, I had a lot of fun playing this little thing. My first flight in it was 4 kills, but that's not the first flight you're going to be seeing today. This is a different one. I think it was the 3rd flight that you're going to be seeing today. The Aquitaine Zero, that was the 4th flight, and the rest of these premiums are about 4 to 5 flights in. So, and plus because they're premiums of normal aircraft in the tech tree, I don't really have a lot to explain other than maybe go watch one of the videos that I've done on these aircraft respectively. But anyway, let's go and take a look at what I got up to in the US BF-109 F4. As I said, it's exactly the same as the German tech tree variant, you just don't have the bombs or the gun pods. So in this battle, I was joined by Forsaken Shadow, one of my trusted wingmen and master of... Well, in fact, no, I'm not going to say that because he's younger than what you'd expect. If you can figure out what I was going to say, put it in the comments below, but I'm not going to say that. He's good at dragging the enemies low. There you go, that's the PG version. But this is a BR, I believe, 4-7 match? Yes, it was a 4-7 match. And this is pretty standard matchmaking for what I experienced in this aircraft. So it wasn't really anything like huge. Because obviously, being in a 4-7 match, you're going to have that most of the time because it's the 264s. But I didn't really have that much of an issue with it. Because, well, this thing climbs like a god. As you can see, I've got 4 times speed and we are rocketing up. I mean, yeah, we're on 4 times speed. But even then, this thing climbs like a trooper. I have to say that. And it's a rather nasty surprise for the Germans because they just don't expect it. Shadow was having a bit of an argument in chat with one of the Razorback pilots who decided to strap it up with bombs, and he didn't even kill a base. So that gives you an idea. So I was debating pulling for this 264, but I left it a bit too late to pull up. Great sound effects, Guardian. Sounds like I'm listening to Star Wars with a TIE fighter going past. Now there is one critical weakness of this aircraft, and that's the overheating. And yes, Shadow did just make a Gordon Ramsay reference in the chat there. I decided to ignore the BF-109 F4 for the moment because I had a gut feeling Jerry was in a G2, and sure enough he was. So I decided, okay, let's engage him. As you can tell, I'm running stealth. I got a good solid hit onto him. But he wants to continue to fight. Now, just to point out here, for any of you experienced pilots, did you spot anything in that moment then? If you didn't spot anything, go back and have a look. But otherwise, if you are an experienced pilot, I'm fairly certain you saw something that would make a difference in this maneuvering engagement. So let's continue. I'm pulling the plane up into the vertical now to try and keep him underneath me, because if he gets guns on target, I'm dead. And Shadow was like, that was a cracking shot, which it was. And he's going to be kill number 1. Now, at this moment, the engine is actually starting to overheat, and I have to be very careful with my throttle, because it's just going to be like that. And let's put it this way, this aircraft is... It's kind of like having an oven in the front, to be honest. It's not an engine, it's more of an oven. But I'm that used to micromanaging Bearcats, I'm kind of familiar with this sort of territory. So I fire a burster, he does get a hit in, which we both hit each other there. So I consider that a fair trade. I'm just glad he didn't puncture the oil tank, to be brutally honest. But let's put it this way. I'm just glad that a meaningless, well, a mine shell didn't hit me properly, because otherwise I'd have probably been a dead man. Now I'm in a bit of a Joseph 2000 sandwich again, but I decided to pull up to bait the 109 and also try and get the yak to not shoot me, because I don't want a yak either behind me or shooting me. Because those yaks are kind of mental with the performance that they can do. So I'm watching the yak as I pull there, and I'm also keeping an eye on the 109. I knew I could outrun the yak, so I decided let's chase down the 109, and I can at least outrun the yak for the moment. So that's just my mindset. I thought if I keep on the 109 and get rid of him, I can at least get rid of the primary threat, and that's his tail gone, by the way. And then I could drag the yak low and potentially bitch slap him later. So I decided to keep on the throttle, but not too much, because obviously I'm overheating again. And I decided to finish off the 109. His pilot bails out, and we almost collide with the pilot, which won't make a difference in game, but I can't say I'd want a pilot going into the propeller, is all I'll say. But I'm trying to get the yak off me, he's continuing the pursuit, but we've got teammates here to help. So that's always a blessing when you've got teammates that actually want to back you up, which is a miracle given the matchmaker now. So I'm coming onto the yak, trying to get a decent shot. I don't get a great shot, but as you can tell, half the team is now engaging this poor bastard. But I fire a burst, but I don't actually get the kill. I got the assist. As it turned out, right as I set the fuel tank on fire, the other teammate there actually killed him. I think it was the Pyramirski that did it. Then there was one Hellcat complaining that it was a 4 versus 1. I just ignored him. There's been a lot of crybabies on the US team recently, so I just ignored him. And I decided to engage this 264. Luckily the 264's nursing his damaged plane to ready care. Kill number 3, and I was a bit nervous about the Pyramirski because you don't know anymore with some of these players. Now you'll notice, if you're eagle-eyed, you'll notice my engine changed colour. Yeah, it overheated and I had to temporarily cut the engine for a moment. This is something you're going to have to get used to, and that's why I recommend flying the German BF-109 F4 first. So then you can experience it a lot better and learn how to counter it. Good hit on him. I have heard, however, from mech users that using radiator or opening the rads is a pretty good way to at least negate some of the issues. But this yak is done for. He's taken a good hit to the central fuselage and the engine. I can't swing it around to get a shot, otherwise I will compress and crash. And I'm just trying to get it before the Pyramidski can. And luckily, this Yak 9 is going to be a bit... Well, he's going to be a bit generous and J out to give me the kill. Which I thought was nice of him. But that's pretty much that at this point. The last enemy aircraft is a ME-264 who's going to be intercepted very shortly. And all I really do from this point is farm up bots and also farm up ground targets. But like I say, for 1300 Golden Eagles off sale and 650 on sale, this thing's a steal at that price. But if I was to be brutally honest with what I'd rather fly, I'm sorry to you 109 pilots, I'm taking my Skyrocket over this. But does that mean this is a bad plane? No. If you don't like Skyrocket or twin engine heavy fighters in general, this thing's a great pickup. This thing is so good. At least it's better than the BTD Bowtime Gaming recommended you buy. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the US BF-109 F4, and I will catch you all on the next one.